Hello and welcome back to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Now we're going to do a compression test on this because a lot of people have asked for it. And it's really interesting because hopefully this gives an insight to when people ask like me questions on a car, just how difficult it is to answer. Because it's not always straightforward. And I'm getting a lot of people saying the same things in the chat room, and I've even getting some people saying, well, it's very difficult to answer because obviously I'm not there. And yes, 100% I agree with you. So hopefully now when you ask someone or a YouTuber a question about a car, you might just now start realizing just how difficult it is to answer because everyone has a different approach. Some people are confused about this AC ripple thing. Some people are also saying it's a pointless test, where it just isn't. And everyone has their own different approach. Now, as regards the AC ripple test, some people are not understanding it and some people are not really getting it. That's kind of the same thing. So but basically some people are saying it's not really a valid test, where it is. I've seen AC ripple, especially on modern cars. Now I'm talking cars with lots of different computers. It can mess with everything. I've seen cars having ABS issues, just one sensor ABS issue. I've had cars just having a misfire like this. I've had all sorts of issues. I've even had cars that have come from me from other shops with broken modules, and people have replaced the modules and the modules popped again. And it's all down to the AC ripple. When you test the powers and grounds to the module, it tested fine, but when you then put a new module in, it's the ABS ripple that actually damages it, and people think, oh, I put a new module in. Now, depending on the price of some modules, they can be hundreds and thousands of pounds. So that's why personally I think, because it's very, very quick and easy, you can do it with a scope. You don't need basically what I have. There's loads of different ways of doing it, but it's vitally important that you know that you're basically starting from a good system. Just like if you don't put a battery maintainer or have a bad battery in, your car's not going to start. If your car doesn't start, you can't test anything. And it's the same. Someone also put down in the comments, it's like the doctor taking your temperature. It is. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the most important tests you have to do first, because once you know your electrical system is fine, you then can trust your readings. And again, it's only when people start actually experiencing AC ripple problems, that's when they're going to start realizing the problems. Because a lot of times when your alternator fails, it's just not charging. It's not an AC ripple fault. And I can tell from some of the comments, people aren't really, or they haven't experienced AC ripple problems. But I can assure you, sooner or later you will, and you'll remember this, or you might not remember it, and you might go off, spending hours and hours, and then realizing, oh yeah, I can check that first. And then once it happens to you once, I guarantee you that'll be the first test you ever done again. And it's just really as simple as that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a compression test, even though a compression test in this case, in my opinion, isn't worth it because of what I said in my first video. The car starts and drives perfectly and then cuts out. But again, this is the problem with, me saying stuff and people answering questions, just like people asking me questions. It's very difficult to get into the head of the person asking the question, and it's very difficult to get exactly what's going wrong with the car. So a lot of people are saying compression, where if they actually listened to me in the beginning, I said the car starts and drives perfectly. If it's a compression issue, it's always going to be a compression issue. It's going to be missing from straight away. It doesn't. Now, I know there is certain cases where maybe that's not the case. We're going to do a compression test. I would eventually maybe be doing a compression test anyway, but in this particular case, in my opinion, it is kind of pointless, but we're going to do it just for the video. Yes, people, I've still got my cool pajamas on, and just look. I can't talk about it too much, but look at this new data pid we have here. Fuel pressure rail. Now, this is a new feature that we are just testing out at the minute. I'm just going to give you a sneak peek. I can't go to it in too much detail, but believe me, people, this bad boy is coming soon. This is just like the gift that keeps on giving. So if you've got one of these, this update is coming very soon. And it's going to be awesome. Now, what we need to do is we just need to do a few things here. So we're just going to do voltage. We've got 3 cylinders. Oh, got the wrong way. 3 cylinders, and we're just going to do a quick test. Stop cranking. And I'll just shut that up. And boom. Now can we see that? Now, as you can see, compression test absolutely perfect. If it was bad, this changes color, but absolutely perfect. So it's not compression, people. So I've got an idea of what to do on the next video from what people are telling me, but now we know it's definitely not compression. Put your answers down below what we should do next, and that's it. Sorted. Now also, don't forget, this is relative compression, so you can't really go off that. This is just a quick and dirty test rather than me going out there, taking all the plugs out and testing it manually. So just remember, it's relative compression. Now, I know, because obviously the thing does start. What I'm trying to get is if all your cylinders were bad, they're all going to read good. But the chances of all your cylinders being bad is very remote. So just remember, this is only relative compression. There is a difference. But I know enough to know there is no need to go and test this manually. So we'll just say, because I know for a fact that the compression is 100% perfect. It's definitely not compression. And like I said, that changes colors if it is a bad cylinder. And also, hopefully it gives you just a little bit more insight to what it's like for people like me and other YouTubers to answer questions, because it is very, very difficult. The reason why sometimes we don't want to answer questions is because if we say the wrong thing and you end up spending a fortune and it doesn't fix the problem, you can see how it causes issues. And like I said, some people are struggling to answer me, even though this might be a simple issue. It's still very, very difficult. Some people are just saying test everything. They're listing out everything, which obviously one of them things is bound to be right, but that's not really what I asked for. It's procedure. So yeah, what you think it is now, put it down below. But we now know it's not compression. We know that for a fact. And we know when we drive down the road, we know the battery and the alternator is good. We also know it starts okay. And when we drive down the road, the engine light starts flashing, it starts missing, and then it cuts out. So that's where we're at now. Tell me down below what you think the problem is or what I should check next. And hopefully in a few more videos, we're going to get down to the bottom of this, get this thing fixed, and we're going to be sorted. So look, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget, links up here, links down below. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.